Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I got a taste of how to speak up for myself, and you know what? I get a lot of subscribers who post about my social awkwardness and all that, but you know what it is? A lot of times when there's not much at stake and things are not coming at me fast, actually can handle things well. Where I run into trouble is when there's something at stake, right? I obviously I'm not in a state where I can retire, right? I had a roommate who still he's semi-retired. He still works, but he works recreationally, if you will, right? He hit it big with one of the cryptocurrencies or some kind of investment, and he's basically working recreationally. If something bad happens, he'll laugh it off, right? I wish I had the luxury. I think I would handle a lot of workplace conflict well. That's why I often ask you guys to pray that I find a rare coin or make a art piece worth a few $1,000,000, or for one of the medals that I own to shoot the moon, right? Because I would keep my job. Let me talk about a situation that happened last night that may not have turned as well if it were a workplace conflict instead. I had gone out with several of my roommates, including the Bitcoin guy, to a karaoke place. We basically rent out a room to sing karaoke. And so as we were checking in, I was the only one to speak Chinese. I was asking about the rate and all that. And so we needed to, the rate came with 500 Taiwanese dollar, about 15, 20 US dollar worth of food and drink. And we looked at this menu, and there were only five of us, and I don't drink, but the others looked at the beer menu and realized that it would be quote unquote cheaper to buy an entire 24 pack. And I straight up put my foot down and say, I'm not shouldering the class. I don't even drink at all. If I drink two beers, I might die. I'm sensitive to beer. Uh, so I pulled out my share of the, because the 24 beers I think was like over 1,000. And so I pulled out my share of the karaoke part in cash. I put it on the table. I was saying, I'm not contributing. I can't drink. And so, to my surprise, that went well, right? Now, had this been a works event, right, or better yet, a workplace meeting where somebody is asking me to shoulder something unreasonable, like asking me to be the only one to come in on a day that most people would like to have off, right? Because, oh my God, other people got to take care of their families. I need my job. I don't need these idiots. Excuse my language, but I don't need these idiots in order to pay my bills or to eat or to have a roof over my head, right? At best, if things got really uncomfortable, I could check out of this hostel and go down the street and go to another hostel and never have to see these idiots again. If that were that, they didn't turn out to be idiots, but that's why I'm comfortable with doing that, right? Which really goes to show I need to get better at being a little bit more financially free. When you're not financially free, you're also not socially free and all the other fun stuff, right? But then we got to the karaoke, and unfortunately, again, I speak Chinese, but I can't read the Chinese, right? So I it took us a little bit to figure out, one of my roommates did some Disney songs, did really well. I sang. Well, I before we even got to the karaoke, I mentioned to them a song I was excited to sing for them. Next week will mark 91 years since we lost Mary Curry. I had written a version of Candle in the Wind just for her. I've already sang it for you guys last year when it was 90 years. And that's all we talked about on the way to the karaoke. I get there, I'm about to pull up the song, And this guy who heard me talk all about it, he decides to pick up the other mic and sing the original. I'm like, what are you doing? And yeah, I'm so consumed by my song, I had to just grab the mic off of him without explaining. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." I'm like, I'm not so much upset that my song got interrupted. I'm more upset at the fact that I've been canceled in some way. Right, this guy. That's all I talked about on the way to the bar, and he already forgot. Like after what 5 minutes. And so not only that, but he talks during my singing of the song. And I had to tap him on the leg to like, hey, please stop. You know, is it upsetting that my song got interrupted? Yes, but what's even more upsetting is that I know it's not just happening when I'm singing about Mary Curry. It's also happening at job interviews, right? It's also happening when I go speak at the conference next week, right? It's also happening at workplace meetings, right? It's also happening when I'm negotiating to buy a car, right? I don't know what about me. And these people are very friendly. So at the end of the night, I reiterated, "Hey, can I tell you something? I really felt disrespected. This is a song about. First of all, we didn't even have the right tune to it. See, I wrote the song based off of Elton John's "Candle in the Wind" from Princess Diana. We only had the one from Marilyn Monroe, and it was already upset. And they realized that, and and so this is a very solemn song. I really feel it was disrespectful, and to my surprise, me saying that didn't cause. They apologized to me, and so as the evening wound down, and they had their little truth serum, right, of beer, I decided I needed to find out if there was anything on me that led to me being canceled. And unfortunately, I really got the impression that they would be willing to tell me, but this is a very subconscious matter, right? And they're like, no, no, don't worry about it. I told them about the date that I'm going on later this week. Don't worry about it. I know there's something. Unfortunately, it sounds like they were being truthful that they didn't know. It was something subconscious. Now, I wish I was in a better situation at work to tell people that, hey, I feel disrespected by this. I really do. I wish that I was in a better situation at work to disagree with unreasonable requests, right? I really do. I really do. I felt really good doing that. And it didn't turn badly. I've always imagined, I can't tell you how many times I've been to social events where I've agreed to split bills that just to avoid a conflict like that. I can't tell you how many times I've done. I can't tell you how many times I've gone home hurt without telling anybody when somebody interrupted me for something. But I'm not hurt anymore. It's more like I want some answers so I could avoid the same problems, right? It's one thing for somebody to talk when I'm singing about Mary Curry. It's quite another for somebody to mentally chatter when I'm in a job interview talking about my experience, and they've already tuned out. Maybe they're thinking about lunch that they're planning to have next, or I guarantee that has happened, right? And so I'd like to know what I'm doing wrong. Now, I'm so pleased at myself for asking about that. Now, I don't get what the logic is for some of these kids. They're just about to fly out now. There's like, they still had 13, 14 beers left. They just put it in the refrigerator in the hostel. Actually, we could go take a look at though. Where am I now? Just to relive the memory of last night. Let's go to the fridge and look at. I don't know if they took them home already. Really? Look at that. I think they're just gonna donate it to whatever guest stays next. All because they thought they were saving a little bit per beer, buying 24 instead of 6 or whatever it was, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.